everyone, and welcome to the Brighteye Edtech Startup Festival 2023. We're on day 2, so I might feel like I'm repeating myself a little bit. We've already done 3 sessions so far, focused on product impact yesterday and people this morning. So watch out for the recordings. They will be shared shortly. And now this afternoon, we are diving into the marketing. Brighteye is an early-stage edtech fund investing in seed and Series A across Europe. We announced the closing of our Fund 2 at 100 million euros earlier this summer, and we are, of course, always looking to connect with you founders and edtech teams out there. My name is Hege, and I'm head of community at Brighteye. I'm working on our portfolio support, communications, and events like this one. Thanks all for joining for this panel on marketing today. I'm happy to introduce David, our principal here at Brighteye, who will be moderating this session. So let's see if I can spotlight David and let him onto the stage. Welcome, David.
Thank you, Hege. Thank you. What a great intro, as always. Thank you so much. Welcome, everyone, to the marketing session. Happy to see 30 plus people connected here. So I'm David from Brighteye, and I will be moderating this panel today. I'm a principal at the firm. I'm French. I'm pretty sure you've heard the lovely French accent. I'll always make that joke because it's it's part of my identity, I guess. But anyway, before Brighteye, I spent 4 years managing the marketing efforts at healthcare startup in Mexico. So I'm pretty excited by this session, honestly. Because we are discussing a key topic today, which is acquisition. I think it's a relevant topic given the current marketing saturation that we are seeing in the market. So really looking forward to listening to what our marketing experts have to say here. We have, by the way, so we have three panelists today. So we are very lucky because they all have different perspectives, different experience, and they work in different markets, different business models, B2B, B2C, different geographies. So it's going to be a pretty interesting, I think, contrast of ideas and tactics. So a massive thank you to all of them for joining us. Just a quick note on for housekeeping before we start. You will have time to ask questions right after the panel. So let's try to make this a conversation. If you feel comfortable, please raise your hand. That would be great. We'd love to hear your voice and ask a question. And if you feel a bit shy, it's all right. You can just leave your questions in the chat and we will read them, okay? We would love you to speak and raise your hand, but again, it's all right. So without further ado, let's dive in. We will start with a quick round of intros, background, different companies and the description of what they do and the products that they are marketing. So if that's all right, I would love you, Daphne, to start with the intro, and then we can move to Sophia, who has a special background, and then Ranbir, who's part of the Brighteye family, just like Hack the Box, by the way. Anyway. I'll shut up now. Daphne, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Pleasure to be here today with all of you. My name is Daphne. The nickname is Deiktaki, very Greek. I am based in usually very sunny, but today very rainy, Athens, Greece. We actually have 14 degrees, and the team earlier was telling me you have 32 in London, so that's a first. I have been involved in marketing since 2009. I'm running marketing for Hack the Box since December 2019. I was the first marketing hire, a typical journey for, I'm assuming, many of us here. And now the team consists of 21 people in total. I'm very proud of that. With 2 new hires already, offer signed starting next month, and currently recruiting for 3 more positions. So the team is growing very fast. Same with the rest of the team, right? The entire company went very fast from the startup to the scale-up phase. We're now over 220 people. So now what the HTB, Hack the Box, does in a nutshell, we are a leading cybersecurity upskilling platform in the most up-to-date and gamified way possible. Basically, we teach the world how to hack through several different platforms we have, meaning don't be scared. How to hack means the ethical hacking of things, the offensive and the defensive cybersecurity, and how we can help them enhance their skills in cyber, either as individuals or as organizations. So we started as a community project, only doing B2C, same for the marketing function. We were just B2C marketing the first 1.5 years. And gradually we had to pivot as a company and of course as a marketing department to B2B. Not easy, and we maintain both right now. So this is actually a challenge that we have, so many personas, because you need to keep the community happy while targeting enterprises. The community right now counts 2.2 million members worldwide, and over 1,000 business customers ranging from enterprises, academia, governments, and other verticals. So hope that's a good brief intro. Yeah.
This is perfect, Daphne. Thank you. I haven't realized that you've been a marketer for 14 years now. That's wow. Okay, I'm super. Yeah, I'm surprised, but I'm positively surprised. Thank you so much, Daphne. Sophia, do you wanna go next?
Yeah, thank you, David. Yeah, no, great to be here. Thank you, everyone. So my name is Sophia. I don't even want to say how long I've been in marketing because that's going to seem 14 years is a short time. But basically, I graduated as an economist. I'm just doing quick calculation. I graduated as an economist in 1990 in Stockholm, where I'm from, and then I got sucked into market research. Worked for 2-3 years in market research with just tech clients, and this is how long ago it was, because one of my first clients was Cisco, who was then looking at breaking into the Nordic market, and then I got actually headhunted to their headquarters back here in London, where I still live, and that is almost 30 years ago. Mad. So I've been in tech marketing ever since then, various sales, commercial, marketing functions, everything from scale ups to small startups, which I've been doing probably for the past 15 years now, early stage. So I'm sure the audience here are pretty much in that sweet spot. So I'm a CMO. I'm a fractional CMO since the past 10 years. I work with people like Brighteye, the portfolio companies within funds. I work with Gradient Ventures. I work with Albion and lots of tech funds around the world, basically, working with amazing, innovative, brave, crazy, creative founders like yourselves who have this stamina and real vision of bringing new technologies into market. So I have that privilege of working with a lot of smart people and helping move that needle through growth strategies mostly, lots of pivots, lots of pre-evaluation work to get the good multiples for exits, tweaking the engine room. So I'm very much on the growth side of the commercial end of marketing, both B2B, B2C. However, I also do a lot of brand strategy because it all, of course, works together. But given the market climate that we're in right now, I spend a lot of my time with marketing teams in the engine room, in the growth engine room, basically. So that's a bit about me. I typically work as an advisor across portfolio businesses, which I'm doing with Brighteye. So some of you may be in the room. I spend an hour with you to look at what your problems are. We try and solve them. I try and come up with solutions for you. And sometimes I deep dive into the actual business itself if we feel that there is something I can help with around a go-to-market, a product launch, a pivot, whatever the strategic imperative would be to get you to that point of your growth trajectory where you need to be and where your valuation need to be. So yeah, that's me.
Thanks so much, Sophia. Thank you. What a background. yes, we're very lucky to have you as a mentor. So Sophia spends a bit of time with our founders and CMOs whenever they need it. So it's we're super happy to have access to her knowledge and expertise. So thank you for joining us today. Ranbir, last but not least, obviously, if you want to go and introduce yourself, that would be great.
Yeah, awesome. Hey everyone. So my name is Ranbir. I'm founder and CEO of Oneday, which is a university for entrepreneurs where you earn your degrees not through revision and essays and memorization, but by actually starting a business. We're one of the fastest growing universities in the UK. If you guys have seen any of our ads or seen any of my face on Instagram, please write in the comments. I'd love to see. Prior to that, for about 5 or 6 years, I was chief growth officer at a company called Sweatcoin, which is a health and fitness app that rewards you for physical activity. We took it from 0 to 100 million installs around the world, making it one of the fastest growing apps in the world. Actually, in the first half of 2022, it was the most downloaded app in the whole of EPAC region, more than WhatsApp, more than Snapchat in the world. And we also took it to the #1 spot in over 66 countries in the App Store around the world, including major markets like the UK, US, etc., etc. Yeah, that's it for me.
Thanks so much, Ranbir. I'm really struggling typing today for whatever reason. So yeah, but I really wanted to say that please check the Oneday, well, obviously their website, but also their social media accounts. The branding strategy is great, and the latest campaign is pretty good, and Ranbir is central to that success. So yeah, you should. I would encourage you to double check it and hopefully get inspired. So guys, let's. The first question that I have for you is really about allocation. So time allocation and budget allocation. There is always this challenge, right? In most startups, right? Let's assume like pre-series B, so earlier stages, that like how do you allocate your effort, your marketing budget between organic and paid? Paid usually is a bit more straightforward, so it's a bit easier to get started, right? Organic takes more time. It's you have to be a bit more patient, and many different differences between the two. But I would be curious because you guys are a bit obviously further ahead in terms of marketing strategies and experience, but how do you allocate? How do you manage this tricky and challenging allocation between organic and paid marketing? Who wants to go first? Sophia, because you're unmuted. Ranbir, because you feel like it.
I can have a stab, and would love for you guys, Daphne and Sophia, to chip in. So if I was to judge, I guess who's in the audience here, by and large, it will be early stage founders, like I guess at seed or seed stage or slightly earlier. In the very early stages of founding a business, you'll be making lots of pivots with your value proposition, what you're building for which type of user, what the solution is, what exactly is the problem that you're targeting. So you're going to be making lots of those pivots very, very quickly. If you're not making those pivots, you're doing it wrong. So yeah, don't be stubborn when you see that what you're doing isn't working. Make a change in some part of your value proposition. In line for that, this is my approach. I'd love to get your thoughts of other panelists here. You want a marketing channel in the early days that's going to be very fast, and that's what to optimize for, to tell you, am I roughly going the correct direction or not? And you want that turnaround time to be very fast. You want that answer within 2 to 3 to 4 weeks. Is this working? If no, I need to change something. Is my price point need changing? My target audience need changing? Does my solution need changing? I think paid through social media perfectly fits that bill for a big chunk of startups, depending on your financial situation, where within 2 days you can have a marketing funnel up and running, and you can see am I roughly headed in the correct direction. And you'll need to pivot 4, 5, 6, 7 times before you're finally finding something that, okay, this looks like I've landed on something that users want and the price dynamics roughly work for me. Now, second stage, you want to scale that paid funnel as much as you can, as long as as much as you can afford with the budgets and the runway that you have. Now the question becomes, as you start scaling, what is the right time to start investing serious amounts of your attention or cash into organics, into virality and things like this? The downside is you're taking away your time and attention from the thing that's working at the time, which is paid. On the plus side, it brings down your CAC the more you invest into these other channels. And secondly, it de-risks your business. It's not unheard of that Facebook will change its algorithm or Google will change its algorithm, and it like completely messes you up overnight. It happens to many companies. So I'd say in the first stages, this has always been my approach. If you want a channel that's fast, quick, gets you numbers, in a 2 or 3 day format. Once you have something that's working, and this is probably going to be several months into your journey, you want to start investing into other channels that might be more sustainable, but will take serious time and effort. So you should only put that serious time and effort in once you roughly understand, okay, this is roughly what I'm going to be building going forwards. So I'd love to get your thoughts as well.
Thanks so much, Ranbir. That's great. Okay, so paid marketing first. Okay, experiment, learn as fast as you can, get like first feedback from the market, and then start with organic. That's interesting. Cool. Thank you for that. Daphne, Sophia, any thoughts?
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I think that if this is all about failing fast, which is what we need to do, and not be afraid of failing, because we will. That's the only way you can test things in earnest. So yeah, no, I would agree with that. I think paid is a strong channel. I think that it's all about making sure that your price point and test and learn all the way through, and run lots of A/B testing. Even if it's just 1 or 2 channels, just test all the time. Test and segment your data that you're testing on as well, so that you are not just targeting the same people, but you actually break down your customer segments and your data sets into portions and test across, so that you can see, so that you can compare and contrast. So I think, yeah, be quite creative. But I think my message to anyone who is starting, don't be afraid of failing, because that is how you're learning, and we all do, and it's fine.
Thank you, Sophia. So failing fast. This is
as long as you
message.
fail fast. So don't keep on doing the same thing for too long. I mean, to your point as well, it's give yourself a few weeks, and if it's not working, try something new.
Got it. Thank you. Daphne, any thoughts?
Yeah, like I couldn't agree more with both. There's no secret recipe, right? Like there is a recipe that says in the beginning you have to invest some advertising budget just to get the brand known, and gradually start building that organic front that as you said, David, needs a lot of patience, and
yes,
it will be your foundation moving forward. And obviously, experiment and test everything. But if I had to give a little bit the HTB flavor to this question, there's one secret recipe, actually. Solve a true need. And that's what our founder did. Like when our founder created a company, it was a very honest effort to cover his own need to practice his skills in cybersecurity. There was nothing else out there. It was all traditional certifications, boring stuff. The information was scattered all over the world. So he basically wanted to create a platform where you can upload some virtual machines and practice your skills hands-on. So the minute he did that, all he did was post the link to the platform in some cybersecurity forums. That's it. And it skyrocketed after that. And we spent nothing on marketing. There was no marketing. Like from 2017 until I joined, December 2019, it was all pure word of mouth. So, yeah.
But there's yeah.
Exactly. One thing that I'm telling him is that he did, word of mouth and community-led growth without knowing it. He didn't know the buzzwords, especially the CLG approach came much after PLG. So if there's one good recipe, is actually solve a true pain point, and all the rest will follow. And we are very fortunate in our case that we have this established organic growth through very strong brand credibility, because all those people follow us on social media. We have it's not easy, but we have right now 450K followers on LinkedIn, and this is organic. So invest on that, actually solving the pain point. Followers will come, users will come, and then you can actually be a little bit fortunate to actually say that, okay, I established the organic lead engine. Now I can experiment and test advertising, paid advertising, very cautiously though, because you don't want to spend dollars in the dark. Like after you have seen how magically organic works, spending advertising budget on awareness or things that you cannot track back ROI, you just cannot do it. So it's very critical to have that tracking in place. At least
that's great. Look, this is a beautiful contrast. So you started with organic community led growth, which was pretty impressive, and this is a big part of why we fell in love with you guys. Have to admit, because the community and the community play was very impressive, and the fact that it was all organic was even more impressive. So you started with community, and then once you had, because you're very lucky to do it extremely well, then you started with paid marketing. And by the way, that was the other way around with Oneday. We were super impressed from I don't know if I've told you that, but with your execution skills, experimenting so fast, and learning every month. I remember hey, we run this experiment. This is what we learned. And that was wow. I mean, to us, that was very, very impressive as well. So 2 different flavors here. That's great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Interestingly, as you know, the second part, the second question that I would love to discuss with you is really the paid marketing is obviously a very important channel, but we are currently seeing a saturation of some of the channels, and I think about Facebook, Google Ads, and so on, which they are still working, but CAC tend to increase as a result. So how do you think about that? What kind of tactics do you kind of use to again, quote unquote, control your CAC in the current market environment? Because we are seeing, I'm sitting on a few balls, and paid marketing is we have to have a super tight control, otherwise we can lose control, honestly, over the budget and the CAC and so on. So yeah, Ranbir, if you want to go first, or Daphne, or whatever, but we'd love to understand how are you thinking about this saturation today, and how to manage these different paid channels since it's getting so competitive. Hope the question makes sense.
Sure, I can start off and maybe have a stab. And I would love to hear your guys' thoughts as well. So yeah, it's the case in all scenarios. When you first start off on a paid channel, CAC looks really good when you spend the first, £5,000 or £10,000 on it. Then when you take it from a £5,000 or £10,000 budget to £100,000 budget, that CAC starts swelling up. Point number 1, you have to fight that CAC really hard, even if you just stay on paid alone. A really consistent system of creating new creatives on a weekly basis, new advertising, testing new target audiences systematically to try and fight that CAC back down, which you can. So let's say if you start off on a new ad creative, a good ad creative, let's say on Instagram, is somewhere around 1% CTR. If you start off there, you might see that's what happens in the first week. CTR is good, but once you've spent a few £100,000 on it, 2 or 3 months later, that CTR has gone down to 0.4 or something like this. You need to refresh it. So you need to find out what worked there well, create more ads along the same basis or some variants of it, and that CTR will come back up high. Second of all, and this is super powerful and it applies to every single business, whether it's B2C or B2B, is lead nurturing. So you will have had all of those users who either clicked on your website at some point but didn't decide to go through with the purchase or submit an application or whatever it was, submitted an email to you but didn't end up going through the whole process. And typically we're aiming for a good 15 to 20% of our sales coming from nurturing the leads who came in touch with us before but didn't convert straight away. And this is a pretty typical figure. I think this is not too hard to achieve, that 15-20%. Get back in touch with them, email them again, 5 weeks later. Whether it's sometimes we create events, actually in-person events, and say, hey, you didn't get a chance to talked to us last time, come meet us on Thursday, we're doing this, whether it's you're creating online events. So those are really powerful. Third one down the line, in my opinion, is virality. If your product is at that place, you can get people to make invites to their friends, whether you incentivize them and give them, I don't know, both some sort of discount if they invite a friend, or whether it's non-incentivized, you just make them feel good about it, that they're introducing their friends to something cool. That's third one. And I'd put fourth as organic. Can you create such good content online? It sounds like Hack the Box are doing this really well. Where people start following you just because they want to get good advice and the cool stuff that you're posting. So I think those are the four dominant channels, or four dominant ways to drive down CAC as you start increasing budgets.
That's cool. Thank you, Ranbir. Sophia, Daphne, any thoughts?
Yeah, happy to go next. Sophia, are you?
Go for it.
So yeah, first of all, yeah, totally agreed with all points. I would have to say that we are still experimenting with paid ads. We're seeing the saturation. Okay, everybody sees it. You need to be blind not to see the saturation and the costs. Something very tricky in our case is, again, the audience. We are speaking to cybersecurity professionals, which is, also they are also known as hackers. So as you can imagine, they are very mindful of their privacy, of their identity, as they should be. They do not accept cookies. They very often, dislike or do not believe so much in marketing. So that's one of the key reasons why, for a very long time, we stayed away from the traditional paid advertising space. Although, it's not that we doubt it. It has to do with the audience and the industry. And on the other side, we invested more on influencer campaigns. For example, believe it or not, there are influencers even in the cybersecurity space. So yeah, and it was easier to track, and the results came in faster. So to answer your question, yeah, they are not working for us. Maybe also we don't have the expertise. Like one thing that I would share with the audience here, and something that I learned the hard way, is that not anyone can do paid advertising. It's a science, it's an expertise. You either give it to an agency or to someone who's an expert. I experimented on my own the first year and I failed miserably. So that's one advice, give it to an expert. And second, something that we do, use a lot the data you have, like those lookalike audiences worked for us. And we made sure that any advertising budget we used had a cap, because we are mindful of our budget. This is how startup life makes you. You care about the budget because it's minimal at the beginning. So having that cap and good tracking and going back, fast iterations, that's something that worked. But they haven't worked for us yet. Maybe we haven't hacked the system so to make it work for us. But that's our answer.
That's okay. So diversification, essentially.
Yeah.
And experimentation. You keep experimenting until you find the right. Obviously, there's no silver bullet, as you said, Daphne, before. But yeah, it's about experimenting until hopefully you'll find the right way to do that. Okay, that's cool. Sophia, any thoughts on the saturation of the channels, the paid channels?
Yeah, no, I think it's a very good question, because I think this is what we're all seeing. All that time we had of actually reaping the benefits is now we have to be smarter. And I would really agree with what Daphne just said. If you have a small team and this is not your superpower or specialism, definitely bring in an agency, pay them, and again, you can pay a relatively small fee to bring somebody in that's not going to eat into your media spend, and it is a saving already there and then, because you can get somebody to get a campaign up and running relatively quickly instead of you trying yourself and spending your time, because that's also part of the CAC. And I think it's not just the actual budget you're spending, but it is the time that is spent and your time, etc., that goes into the CAC calculation. When we then go to the board meeting and tell the board how much we spend, is not just the actual media spend, but it's also the other costs associated. So that will be one sort of piece of advice, that if you don't have this expertise yourself within your own marketing team, find someone, and there are some very, very good people out there. And I guess the other comment I just wanted to make is also, I think, in terms of to reduce your CAC, also don't forget your existing customers. So, you know, that's low-hanging fruit, upselling, cross-selling, and engaging with your existing customers, also pulling down CAC hugely, because it's not going to cost you the same to acquire, it costs you more to acquire new customers, obviously, than to sell into your existing customer base. So that's another, you know, just small tactical trick. Just remember, organic growth is also important.
Exactly. Always in parallel, right? Like work, right?
Yes. More. Yeah, what Sophia just said resonates so much. It's so easy to get into the net new acquisition side of things, that you can so easily forget about your customers and actually face in 2 years customer churn, or forget about expansion. Very spot on.
Yeah, no, it's easily done. We just want new logos all the time. I mean, that's the sort of that's what we think we need to do. But actually, we have a whole community of customers there that we can tap into, and yeah, it's very easy. It's very easy to forget.
That's great. Thank you. Thanks so much. That's the perfect segue. So Sophia, what do you hear? Like any advice? Because I thought that you shared two interesting advice in the previous question. So what are the common pitfalls that edtech, but edtech startups, since we are focusing on the edtech community here, should avoid in managing their CAC, essentially? Because you shared these two interesting things. Any other thoughts? And it's like, yeah, you know what, I've seen usually that, I don't know, they rely too heavily on paid marketing, for instance, and they completely forget about organic. Or actually, you know what, it's the other way around. They're afraid of paid marketing, they don't have budget, don't want to experiment, or whatever. Any pitfalls that you've seen?
Yes, I mean, there are plenty of pitfalls, and I think that it's
top two, top three.
Top three.
Yeah.
So I think that one thing that I mentioned is to not including maybe indirect costs to some of the marketing that you do on top of. I think we talked about events, for example, which is a very effective channel to engage very effectively, but it's usually also a very high CAC. So it is just making sure that you're tracking your costs across all your channels, so that you know, because it's very easily done. You can track your digital costs very easily, because we do that through, you know, analytics, HubSpot, etc. But also we have other costs that can be easily forgotten about. So I think that is one pitfall, that we focus very much on the digital spend and forget that there is other costs. I also think that it's thinking about benchmarking your CACs as well, so that you keep an eye on. We got some good pointers earlier about, you know, where you should be and what you should expect in return. So look for your industry CACs and compare yourself against those benchmarks, KPIs, and see where you're at, so that you have a good sense is $1,000 a lead high or low. I think that is a good way, just so you have a sense of where you are on the spectrum. And I think also another potential pitfall is that you're not optimizing the channel, so you perhaps get stuck on one and forget that actually you can reduce your CAC by spreading across. For your customer acquisition, for example, you can spread across multiple channels, and some will be more cost effective than others. So that's the other thing, compare and contrast all the time across all your marketing channels to get a sense of where you're spending and what your return is.
Thanks so much, Sophia. Wow. Okay, I hope you guys are taking notes, because Yeah, I am taking notes. So thanks so much. I think it is super relevant advice. Daphne, do you want to go on what pitfalls you see that edtech
Sure.
startups make? Yeah.
Yeah, so okay, first of all, I haven't been talking to as many edtech marketing teams as I should have, most probably. So again, I will try to give my take here. It's again about that value. We are in education technology. At the end of the day, we need to ensure that we are educating, so providing value. And the recipe there is, to make sure that prospects get something qualitative, of course, for free, and then have the right mechanics in place to start converting them to members, after they sign up, and then subscribers start paying. So at the end of the day, the pitfall that I might be seeing is we are not exactly capitalizing on that marriage of good product marketing and good product marketing foundation with growth marketing techniques. Like at the end of the day, it's that combination. Because growth marketing, like as Ranbir mentioned, that a referral system, that's magic if you nail it. So if you have a referral system bringing you customer and member acquisition, and then good product marketing to convert them, because product marketing is not just about a kick-ass value prop. It's about having all those mechanics in place, email marketing, pop-ups, all that customer journey mapping to convert them and have analytics in place to know exactly where drop-offs happen. So that's my answer there. We tend to forget that magic combination of good product marketing and good growth marketing.
That's great. Thank you. You're right.
Or at least it's easy to forget it.
No, but look, you're absolutely right. I mean, a referral mechanism without the product being actually ready to handle that or built around this mechanism is almost useless. So you're absolutely right. Thank you, Daphne. That's great. So that's great insight. Ranbir?
Yeah, so my top three are in order. Number one, the pain point that people are solving is not deep enough for the target customer. The pain point, you can break it down into typically three definitions. Is it a paper cut issue that the target client is having? Where when you have a paper cut, kind of it's annoying in your life, but you don't really pay anyone any money to solve it, right? You kind of just like let it go by. And I'd say by and large, like new startups that I often talk to, they think they're solving a deeper problem, but it's actually just a paper cut issue. Like no one will ever pay you money for this. Second is like a headache category where when you get a headache, it is annoying enough that you'll probably spend like £5 or something for a paracetamol to solve it, but it's not going to be like a serious issue in your life. You want to solve a broken leg issue for your target customer, where they are actively looking for a solution. There is no way they're moving forward in their life unless like this problem is solved. And this is, you want to iterate on your problem statement until you're solving a broken leg issue for your target customer. Issue number two, your typically solutions need to be 2x better, either cheaper, faster, or more effective than the next best thing in order to really break the noise in the market. You're gonna, when you're starting off, you don't have a lot of money, you have no credibility, or you have no brand. To get a target customer to buy your product over the next best thing, whatever it is, you have to be either 2x faster, cheaper, or more effective. And you should be able to quantify this. If you're saying 2x cheaper, show me the price. Your price should be literally 2x lower. If you're saying it's faster, show me that it's like it achieves the result 2x faster and that the customer actually cares about speed in this instance. And a lot of the times, the solutions that people are trying to work on are incrementally better, 20%, 30%, 40% better than the next best thing. And unfortunately, it's just not good enough to break through the noise. And issue number three that I think is most common is just not being able to actually reach the target customer. If you're going for enterprise B2B sales and you have no skills in this area, no contacts, it's going to be a very uphill battle for you. If you're in a B2C play and you have no money to spend on Facebook and ads, and you can't think of any like distribution partners or media partners that you can go through to get early customers, you're going to have a really difficult time. So I'd say those are the top 3 common issues.
Thank you. That's an interesting one. The last one that you mentioned. I mean, all of them, obviously. The second one, like twice cheaper or faster, whatever this is. At Brighteye, this is something we spend a lot of time on because we believe it's part of the value proposition of the entire solution, right? Of the whole solution here. So that's interesting to bring that into the value prop into marketing, which makes total sense. And the last one, not being able to essentially reach the end user, could be sometimes what we see. It's a lack of deep understanding of personas. You know, like it's like, hey, we know who we are selling to. We kind of know them, but we don't deeply know them. And that's and you can feel it in the marketing, in the messaging, in the way that, including pricing, sometimes that is completely not aligned with expectations and so on. Anyway, so that's an interesting point here. Daphne, yeah.
We assume we know. That's the pitfall. We spend too much time speaking with each other inside the company, and we don't spend enough time speaking with actually the customers.
And what do you do at Daphne, for instance, to do you spend time? Do you do like personas or research constantly, or not really? Like, what is it that you guys do to really understand who you are selling to? Because you have really interesting. I mean, you have this is one of your challenges. I noted that you have like so many different personas, right? But how do you spend time there, really trying to go deeper into core motivations and so on?
We spend time, but not as much as we should. I think, again, it comes down to good product marketing. So that's an area we're investing right now, beefing up the team with more resources. So the more senior people can do more critical product marketing work, like customer interviews, market mapping, analyst relations, because it's very easy to get tied to the day-to-day management of releases, especially when you have a very complex product portfolio as we do. So that's the answer there. Like, good product marketing. Product marketing needs to be most likely the first function that the marketing department in a tech company creates. That's where you start from, the foundation, knowing the customers, the prospects, the pain points, and then adapting your value prop to that. And then, after that, there are techniques, strategies, many tools. We work very closely with also the analytics team to deep dive on our data and start making conclusions and not assumptions.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful. Sophia, any thoughts on that one, on like creating and going deeper into the creating your personas?
Yeah, definitely. And I think this knowing your audience is essential. And I think particularly if you are a B2B2C or you have multiple complex personas, because we are, in edtech, so you're actually selling education to children, but it may be that the parents or the school or the teachers or the tutors are the buying groups. So I think that it's absolutely essential to know who you're selling to, who's going to be the user, who is the economic buyer, who's the technical buyer, and have that totally mapped out, because that helps you with your messaging and your channels you're choosing and your spend.
That's good. Thank you, Sophia. Ranbir?
Nothing else to add on this one, David. I think Sophia and Daphne said it all. Okay,
we beat this one to death. That's great. Guys, we have interesting questions in the chat. We still have like 15 minutes to go. I would love to try to answer a few questions here. There is one that James from ClassList, and you're selling to via parents and schools is what I understand. And your question was, does any tips for effective marketing to a person who is not your target user? Okay, so you're selling to the parent, but the target user is the child student. Look, interesting. I saw Ranbir's answer, sorry, and he's absolutely right. Look, I mean, this is my 2 cents, right? It's outside the edtech world, but when I was a CMO, we had this issue. We were selling healthcare products, or eye care in my case, for older adults. Older adults meaning like 70 plus. But guess what? The children were paying. So all our messaging, marketing, everything, like the conversion was happening with children. So and obviously 70 plus years old, we couldn't target them on Facebook. I mean, at the time, right, in 2014, like the population was, I don't know today, by the way, perhaps something I should double check, because there are more 70 plus years old on Facebook users. But at the time, it was really like targeting their children, right, who were like in their 30s usually, and all the marketing was towards them. That's it, because they were the one who at the end of the day were paying and were kind of making the decision, right? So yeah, I fully agree with Ranbir. This is just an anecdote, perhaps it's completely useless, but just wanted to share it. I don't know if Sophia and Daphne, you guys have thoughts on that, when you have like two different target user and actually the decision maker.
In our case, we do actually, because in many cases we target individuals, but at the end of the day, we want the business to pay for the cybersecurity training, and that's how we convert to B2B. I don't have expertise on the parent thing that James is asking about, but my first question would be like, how are those parents researching for the pain point? Like, do they Google it? Do they ask other parents? Like, I have no idea about, the details of the product, but that's what I would do. I would try to understand how a parent would normally go about finding that solution for their children and make sure I am in front of them. I know it's vague.
It's good. It's fine. You're confirming the rule, right? So it's great. Sophia, any thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, it is Daphne's right. It is knowing your audience and knowing where they are and what media they consume and which platforms they use. So I think that it is, again, it's back to the original question we had about testing and learning. You've got to experiment here and test it. I also would do small things like having, even if it's just a small sample group of parents, and just have a user testing or some research, just to ask and actually find out, to get that insight and intel, and find out where and how they would look for this problem solving solution. So I think that's as a parent myself with 3 kids, I do know that it's becoming a lot easier because of technology, and particularly on the digital side, to both target and find solutions to your problem. But I think, yes, it's don't forget also to get that qualitative insight by actually talking and finding out through your stakeholders, be them educational institutions, parents, teachers, etc. So you just have that real, back to Daphne's comment about don't make too many assumptions.
Yeah. Thank you, Sophia. Next question, guys. I mean, Richard, you have 2 questions for the panel. If you want to ask the question, the 2 questions actually yourself, that would be great. If not, I can read them. But yeah, wherever you are, Richard, in the audience, if you feel like it, unmute yourself and ask the questions. And if not, it's all right.
Hi, so this is Richard. I've just unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Richard.
Both these questions, I guess, were kind of generic. One of them regarding AI was talking a little bit to the conversation around CAG and the use of expenditure and content development. But obviously, AI has a huge impact on everything, but specifically in this forum, marketing. And then again, it relates to a little bit to the dialogue you had before around, when you're a startup business and you're trying to make that first strides into marketing, the investment in marketing and people, when do you outsource? When do you insource? What are the sort of criteria you kind of make around some of those pretty tough decisions when you've got a very, very small budget and a very small amount of initial funding or even secondary funding? That gives you some additional context, guys.
Thank you. Yeah. Who wants to take this one?
I'm happy to have us up. Okay, I might have a controversial view on this. I have really tried very many times to like find agencies to like do good stuff for us, but I have been like disappointed every single time I've tried. It's I think especially at the early stages, my hunch would be the right thing to do is talk to companies that are somewhat successfully targeting the target audience that you are, understand what funnel they're using, and have your own stab at creating a rudimentary version. I think as a founder, you should be able to roll your sleeves up and hustle those funnels together. Read books, watch YouTube videos, come to online sessions like this, hustle those funnels together to give you a binary understanding. Is that funnel also working for you or not? If that funnel is working and you're able to use it to get your first, whatever, 10 paying clients or something like this, you can then invest more time into that funnel. And then you can go about looking for like very specific experts. This is the time it works for me when I outsource or when I kind of bring external people in, is when I know exactly what I'm looking for. Hey, I found this funnel, it's working well for me. I'm going to go and hire the head of marketing at another company that uses this exact funnel to this exact audience. I'm going to pay them slightly more and they're going to come and build for me this exact same thing. That's when outsourcing has worked for me. Anytime it's been like generic and a little bit more vague, and I don't know exactly kind of the specialist skills I'm looking for, it's not been useful for me. But I'd love Daphne and Sophia's view on this as well.
No, if I may, I think that's so true. I mean, like you say, Ranbir, you have to have a very clear idea of what you're looking for, because otherwise you can just get the wrong support. And there are plenty of not great agencies out there who would think they know but don't. So I think your advice is very good. I would totally agree with that. Be very specific. Don't be afraid of going and asking for help from others that you can see who've done it. And yes, and consider your brief very clearly, and have somebody checking in and ask them to sort of basically, here's what I think I need. Ask somebody to validate that, somebody you trust who has the experience. Come to us. And we can, basically help you and say, yeah, that should be good, or maybe you're not ready, or your budget is actually not going to give you what you are hoping for, because there's nothing worse taking your hard-earned, financing that you've got, be it seed or Series A, spending it on a channel and then it's not going to give you the return. That is quite soul destroying, and then you obviously have to stand in front of the board and explain yourself. So I think that is good advice. Don't be afraid of asking for help. Get somebody to just really hone in on, double down on the issues that you have, and then you won't hopefully make expensive, unnecessary hires or mistakes.
Thank you.
Agreed with both Sophia and Ranbir. I don't think that many people would say that an agency will ever do a better job than an in-house marketing team that knows fully the product, the personas, the processes, everything. I've worked with agencies plenty of time. I don't have bad things to tell about agencies. And actually, it's a good trick to actually, whenever, for Richard's question, you don't know about whether you should bring that expertise in-house. So why not test it with the agency as a channel, see a little bit the results, and if it works, then you bring in the expertise internally. They work simultaneously for a while, and at some point you let go the agency. So that's a trick that I have done in the past. And in most cases, I think it has to do with being also mindful of where you focus on, because you could easily say that I can do everything in marketing, from SEO to paid ads to, you name it. So that expertise also has to do with the budget. Like we all know that we could, all of us might want to have, a 30 people marketing team to do it all, but it's not so easy, especially pre-Series B. So another good advice, especially at those early stages, like a team of 5, invest in superheroes. Like there are people out there that are go-getters. They have that growth mindset. They want to learn. They want to test things. So it's very crucial, especially at that stage, to invest in the right hiring. Those are tough early days where everybody does everything.
Brilliant. Thank you
Exactly.
very much.
And Richard, if I may chip in as well, so I'll echo what Daphne said earlier. Just like play to your strengths, really. Like if really paid marketing for whatever, I mean, let's take a step back. I'm a big believer of in-house marketing. I've used agencies like everybody else, I guess. Not a big fan unless it's your weakness and just like, hey, I have a bit of budget. I don't know how to do that. I want to learn more about that. Okay. If not, in-house. So play to your strengths or to your CMO strengths or whatever, whoever is managing the marketing at your company, and just outsource something that is not, unless you want to learn, you really don't know how to do it, as Daphne said, or something that is not that important. Like there's not core, not critical, not like, hey, we rely on that to grow. Like, oh, that's an orange flag, honestly. So this is how I would approach it, really. Playing to your strengths and outsourcing things that are not core, unless you want to learn for a bit of time, and really, or if it's a weakness and you're just like, hey, I'm never going to be able to create that. I don't know, to do it in-house anyway. It's not like I'm going to hire someone who fully does that. Perhaps then that's the way to outsource it. But if not, yeah, not a big fan. Anyway, sorry, but wanted to chip in.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much for your answer.
Yeah, great. Oli, I don't know, I don't want to be butchering your first name. I'm sorry if I did. You have an interesting question. Do you want to ask a question, the question yourself?
Yes, I can do it. So, I mean, obviously, the ideal situation is that user acquisition is a math problem. But that means that you know your LTV and customer acquisition costs. But like for edtechs, like how do you actually calculate your LTV? I mean, like, do you calculate it per year? What is lifetime in this case? And like customer acquisition costs, I mean, you're doing it over multiple channels. So like, how do you track this all? And especially when you're a small team. So like, and I mean, this is a very generic question, but I wanted to ask our participants, like, not how do I do it, but how do they do it in a way? Thank you.
Are you just so I get B2C, B2B?
B2C.
B2C.
In my case, it's B2C. Yeah. Thank you.
Got it. I'll if you guys don't mind, I just share like something really. I've seen like usually B2B it's in years, right? It's 2-3 years. Obviously, we've seen crazy stuff. People estimating LTV of like 7 years, 8 years, whatever. Okay, why not? But well, it's unproven. But usually it's 2-3 years, right? And B2C we've seen years, but we've seen also months, right? Depending on the frequency of usage and natural churn and whatever. But it's but yeah, we've seen both in terms of time frame. So it's yeah, there is no right or wrong answer, but we've seen both timeline. I don't know. That's it. Just wanted to share that. Sophia, Daphne, Ranbir, any thoughts on this question?
No, pretty spot on, David, what you said on LTV. On the CAC side, I might chip in here that at least in our case, we try to monitor customer acquisition cost on a mega campaign level on an annual basis. What are the mega campaigns we do? Because obviously we also have many organic campaigns where their ROI and CAC are great because we spend nothing on them. But on the big events, like either a media thing or a very big trade show, We do it on a campaign basis so that we know exactly what this specific campaign, which was very resource heavy and budget heavy, brought us back. And we also have the corporate CAC, and I would love to hear what the rest of the team says here, where we add everything to the math, including all of the payroll, all of the organizational costs, and there our overall organizational CAC is also higher. But we try to see on a campaign basis the more truthful KPI, if it makes sense.
Interesting. So you have so you have like essentially like paid CAC, I guess, and blended CAC, where you have like paid plus organic. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Yeah. Cool. I don't know, Oli, if we're answering your question here. There's no silver bullet. That's the beauty of marketing. There's a lot of formulas and data, but still no silver bullet here.
It was a good answer. Thank you so much. Like just add everything, including the cost of employees and everything. So yeah, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, the takeaway is really track like paid marketing, as Daphne said, right? Like, hey, we're doing this campaign, so let's try to track as much as we can these CAC for these specific paid campaigns, right? Like new customers that we brought thanks to that. And then the second one is really like everything, right? It's more like you include the organic, you may want to include obviously salaries and so on. You should include salaries, I guess. But yeah, anyway, no silver bullet, I guess. That's there is one last question. Do we still have like 1 minute? Raj from the Brighteye family asked an interesting question. So Raj, do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question? If you can hear me. Yeah.
Yes. Hello.
Hey Raj.
Thank you, Sophia, for answering it. Well, I mean, I guess it's just part of the learning curve for us, but I think just because of the nature of our product and the novelty of it in the market and so on, we adopted a very product-led approach. But definitely with more money coming in, I think that'll kind of switch to being more marketing and sales. But yeah, is there a right or wrong? Perhaps we could have maybe grown faster if we had done that the other way around. So yeah, lots of thoughts.
To add some comments here, I think it really depends on stage of the company. I think a lot of startups at early stage, at like seed or earlier, are in this growth mindset. Their goal is to try and grow faster. Whereas my approach always is here, the problem with being in growth mindset is you're assuming your product stays the same. Hey, this is it. This is my target audience. This is my product. This is my solution. All I'm trying to do is grow, which is 99% of the time you're underutilizing your opportunity, because what you should be doing is trying to figure out, is there a deeper product market fit than where I currently am? How should I be changing my product so there is insane level of demand that I'm tapping into? When you first start off with your business, like if you imagine the pool of data that you have available to be able to make your decisions on, you have less than 0.1% of that data available to you, right? As you start growing that business and working on it for a few years, the amount of data increases by 10%, 20%. You might get to, 1% of all the data available to make those decisions. When your pool of data has grown 50-fold, if your business hasn't pivoted, you're doing it wrong, right? This is being stubborn. Your business should have changed and evolved quite substantially. And this is if I had to go overall, what is the number one mistake I think most people are making? They are cementing their business in stone and being in the mindset at a very early stage, like at pre-seed stage or seed stage. Okay, now I'm in just growth mode. Product stays the same. I'm just trying to grow it. Whereas the reason a lot of companies aren't growing faster is they need to find a slightly different target audience. They need to change their solution so that people are dying to have it. They need to target an adjacent problem that users are more dying to solve already. And that's where you'll find much more growth in the long run than being stubborn with the value prop statement and trying to scale this. That's different if you're at like Series B or something like this, where now, okay, your value prop statement, you're getting more certain this is the case. And now it is about finding different channels. But at earlier stages, for sure, I really think the mentality of a founder shouldn't be, I'm in growth mode now. It should be, I'm trying to get to a deeper value prop statement so I can have uber levels of growth from there on in, instead of having, you know, maybe like a 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 value prop statement and being focused on just trying to grow this.
I mean, I think just as a business for us personally, maybe our approach has worked because our retention metrics are very, very good. You know, top of the line retention metrics because of this product-led approach, maybe. And then, yeah, probably, you know, the time will come when we do both, I guess. in good measure. Thank you. Thanks, Deborah.
One quick comment here, although I couldn't agree more with what Ranbir said, like literally. An answer there could be why not both, Rajesh? Because you're saying perhaps we can grow faster with sales-led compared to PLG. Like after a certain point, you can combine the perks of the two worlds. You can use the PLG for that commercial smaller accounts and have a proper sales team handle an enterprise pricing bundle and actually bridge the two worlds because it's you cannot have either or. I feel after a certain point. Yeah, that's my quick comment. We're running out of time.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense.
Well, thank you. Thank you, guys. Let's wrap up. Raj, I hope you got I don't know, like a high-level guidance here from Ranbir and Daphne, and I saw that Sophia also shared some written comment here, so I hope it's helpful. But I'd like to thank you guys again, Daphne, Sophia, Ranbir, for your time. It was great. It was super insightful. Took a lot of notes. I'm happy. Anytime I learn something new or like you give me something to think about, super happy. And you did that today, so thank you. I hope that the rest of the audience is leaving also with a few actionable takeaways. And we will see you soon, I guess. So thank you. I will let Hege take it from here, I guess. And thank you. It was great to be here.
Sounds excellent. Yeah, I'm definitely going to leave full of energy from this conversation. So thanks all of you, Daphne, Sophia, Ranbir, and of course you, David. And thanks to everyone who's joined for this session 2 of day 2. We've got 2 more sessions coming up for the festival tomorrow, 2 final ones on exits and finance. And it's still not too late to sign up. I've left the link in the chat for those who want more conversations. So for now, thanks, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, guys.